Donald Trump's plan has completely backfired. He announced his intention to deploy U.S. troops to occupy Gaza and suggested leveling the area entirely. However, this proposal has sparked significant backlash in the Middle East. Several nations, including Jordan and Saudi Arabia, have warned they would consider going to war with Israel and possibly the U.S. if such actions were taken. Even some MAGA-aligned Republican senators like Rand Paul have voiced their opposition to this idea. The pursuit for peace should be that of the Israelis and the Palestinians. I thought we voted for America first. We have no business contemplating yet another occupation to doom our treasure and spill our soldiers' blood. Even Rand Paul himself had played a role in selecting this psychopath as the party leader. One key takeaway is that Jordan is prepared to go to war with Israel if Palestinians are pushed into its territory. Trump's call to evacuate Gaza has caused significant outrage in Jordan, with credible sources informing Middle East Eye that the U.S. ally is ready for conflict. Meanwhile, the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations stated that Palestinians should not be forcibly removed from Gaza, emphasizing that it should only happen with the consent of the Palestinians. What he says, Danny Dan and the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations back President Donald Trump's plan for the United States to take control of Gaza, though he doesn't believe Palestinians should forcibly be removed from the land. Quote, I think we all agree that it should require the consent of people to move out from where they live, and the consent for other countries to receive them. To be clear, Donald Trump's proposal was ethnic cleansing, which is completely wrong and should be strongly condemned. Fox News interviewed various leaders from Jordan, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, all of whom rejected Trump's plan to take control of Gaza. This is sourced from Fox, by the way.
Chief foreign correspondent Trey Yanks has that part of the story from Tel Aviv.
Diplomatic shockwaves are reverberating across the Middle East after President Trump unexpectedly announced plans for a U.S. takeover of Gaza that would include forcing Palestinians out. The idea was quickly rejected by Jordan and Egypt, countries the president says would take in displaced refugees. Saudi Arabia also denounced the proposal.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs affirmed that the kingdom's position on the establishment of the Palestinian state is firm, steadfast and unwavering, and that this firm position is not subject to negotiation or outbidding.
That sentiment echoed on the ground inside Gaza, where Palestinian civilians spoke out about a potential forceful displacement of their people.
Trump's remarks are illogical. We have lived through a war for a year and 4 months. And then he comes and says we should leave our land. This is our land and the land of our ancestors.
At the same time, while we're hearing those strong voices, there are the spineless MAGA Republicans in Congress, most of whom will just go along with whatever Donald Trump wants. Take MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, for example. This is a typical response from him. He's caught off guard at first, but as soon as Trump says something, he's all in.
Yeah, we're trying to get the details of it, but I think this is a good development. We have to back Israel 100%, and so whatever form that takes, we're interested in having that discussion. But it was a surprising development, but I think it's.
Here's MAGA Mike Johnson once again, being questioned by a reporter. The reporter asks, "Are you suggesting that it's America first to have U.S. troops occupy Gaza and act as a police force in the region, policing the world?"
Is that an America First policy to send American soldiers into one of the most volatile regions in the world and then suggest that the U.S. take control of a region that it has no claim to?
Look, there'll be more details forthcoming on that, of course. The initial announcement yesterday, I think, was greeted by surprise by many, but cheered by, I think, people all around the world. Why? Because that area is so dangerous, and he's taking bold, decisive action to try to ensure the peace of that region.
The propaganda from the MAGA Republicans is pretty embarrassing, especially from Kim Jong-un's press secretary, Donald Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. She said that everyone was happy with this plan and that the world was celebrating Trump's decision to conquer Gaza and send U.S. troops to occupy it permanently. It was as if the world was rejoicing. These people are the most deceitful and delusional propagandists. It's even more outrageous than Kim Jong-un's rhetoric.
All up on that, though, he also said that everyone loves this plan. He said that in the Oval Office this morning. In fact, the Deputy Prime Minister of Jordan called it a declaration of war on the Arab people. So how does he square the fact that even some Republicans on the Hill are objecting to this or questioning this? How does he square the fact saying everyone loves this plan?
Well, King Abdullah of Jordan will be here next week, so I can provide you more context on the conversations he will have directly with the President of the United States after that meeting. And I would just point out that there's been a lot of leaders and officials all around the world who have doubted, I suppose, the deal-making ability of President Trump. You heard the Panama leader saying that he would not agree to some of the concessions that he has now made because of Secretary Rubio's visit. You had the Colombian president saying he wouldn't accept flights of Colombian illegal nationals who have entered into our country illegally, and those flights are underway. So actions speak louder than words.
By the way, this was also on Fox, where our friend Jessica Tarlow was speaking to Jesse Waters. Some of the most outrageous propaganda came from this exchange. Tarlow asked, "What are you going to do with these 2 million people?" And Jesse Waters responded, "Send them to Greenland."
We could help. We could take a few, but you're talking about 2 million people.
We'll spread them out. So, maybe some could go to Greenland.
If you want.
Here's something pretty funny. Check out this clip of Benjamin Netanyahu during his press conference with Donald Trump. If you look closely at Netanyahu's face, you can tell Trump said something he probably shouldn't have. It's like Netanyahu's thinking, what on earth is he talking about? This whole thing is just awful. But now they're saying all the things they really shouldn't. Pay attention to Netanyahu's reaction.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. With the same goal in mind, my administration has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region. And we've really done that. We're a respected.
The U.S. is dealing with a pretty nasty authoritarian regime, and we're already seeing protests popping up across the country and globally. These protests are only going to get bigger because of all the corruption and totalitarian behavior. It's all about DEI, and these people are just plain stupid. Authoritarianism meets incompetence, and America is more isolated and weaker than ever, all because of Donald Trump and the despicable MAGA supporters behind him. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe, and let's aim for 1,000 subscribers, even though we're just starting out. Stay tuned.